Live from the free state of Florida, it is Open Bar Friday. Yes, it is, folks. Open Bar Friday. And, we have a lot to get to today. First and foremost, folks, Alex Jones thing, probably not going to get too much into that because we all know they were trying to string him along and everybody hates Alex Jones. But yeah, apparently he did lie, and he's been ordered to pay $4.2 million to the Sandy Hook parents, which they've already gotten a lot of money anyway. But I don't know much about the case. I don't really follow it because, like I say, Alex Jones is not very much liked by a lot of people. He's out there. Although I did used to enjoy his commentary. Other news, Brittany Griner, who I believe we talked about this last week, right, has been sentenced to 9 years in a Russian detention facility for small amount of medical cannabis oil, which, I'm sorry. Well, that shouldn't be the case. Russia doesn't punish their own people that way, but as I said last week, it's pretty stupid if you're a high-profile individual when there's tensions going between two countries to, I don't know, bring that in your luggage. And if I recall correctly, she was caught on the way out. Maybe she just left it behind. I mean, seriously? But anyhow, I digress. The proper trade for Griner and Paul Whelan is not about the merchant of death, so to speak, but I guess that's what Brandon's going to do, just give the Russians some more tools to go against us, so to speak. Monkeypox. You think they're at it again, folks? Do you think they're at it again? They called it a national emergency. The election's around the corner. Sounds like some screwery going on. And the Democrats, well, they like to tell you that stop inflation bill is going to stop inflation, when quite honestly, it's going to do quite the opposite. See, everything the Democrats say they're going to do turns out doing the opposite of what they say they are going to do. And people still vote for them. DeSantis gets rid of another Soros back wokester. That's another good one we're going to get into tonight. And Breonna Taylor, remember that? It was some drug dealer staying at the house. Cops knocked. They said it was a no-knock warrant. He shoots at the cops. The cops shoot at him. End up killing Breonna Taylor. He doesn't go to jail, I don't believe. Maybe he did. I'm pretty sure he didn't. He should have. And now the federal prosecutors are trying to get them on civil hate crime or whatever the hell it is. I'll pull that up too. I have the articles here. So, what are we going at first? There's a lot of stuff to get to, but it is Open Bar Friday, so let's have a drink. Okay. So on to this Breonna Taylor case. We'll start with that one. That's sure to get me a little fired up. So this is from the New York Post, 4 Louisville police officers face federal charges in Breonna Taylor's death. Now, before we get into this, it was Brett Hankinson. I can't remember which one. Let me see here. Stand by. Okay, Hankinson was the guy's name. The 4 officers charged in this: Brett Hankinson, Kelly Goodlett, Kyle Meany and Joshua James. Now, Brett Hankinson was charged by the state with charges filed against he was one officer for reckless endangerment for firing down a dark hallway, and again, he was acquitted of these charges. Now, state charges, he was the only one that state charged, he was the one that fired. They were ultimately dropped. This charge here, and we're going to just read off the article. This is federal. State charges their state employees. And, that's the way that it works. But 4 current and former Louisville police officers were hit with federal charges related to the 2020 killing of Breonna Taylor, who was shot during a law enforcement raid at her apartment. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced that Thursday. Now, no, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Former Louisville Metro Police Department officers Joshua Haynes, Kelly Goodlett, Brett Hankinson, and current LMPD Sergeant Kyle Meany were charged in 2 separate incidents with civil rights offenses, unlawful conspiracies, and the use of force and obstruction offenses related to Taylor's death. Haynes, Goodlett, and Meany are accused of committing civil rights offenses and the falsification of a so-called no-knock search warrant. Now, they say falsification because there is an eyewitness that was there that said they did knock and identify as the police. At this point, some guy that was in there, I have that name. I probably should have looked this over a little bit. Anyhow, I have this somewhere. Whatever. Not very important. Federal charge announced today alleged members of the police-based investigations unit falsified the affidavit to use to obtain the search warrant of Miss Taylor's home, the AG said, adding this act violated civil rights laws, and those violations resulted in Miss Taylor's death. The act violated civil rights laws, and those violations, blah, 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 blah. Taylor, 26-year-old black medical worker, was shot and killed by officers when they attempted to carry out the warrant for a search of her home. During the incident, Taylor's boyfriend fired at the officers, believing an intruder was entering the apartment. Taylor was hit multiple times when the police returned fire. There we go, folks. When the police show up at your house and say, "Dum, dum, dum, police, open the door," you don't go shooting at them. That's just common sense because you're not going to win. The woke, I threw that in there, Department of Justice believes the cops knew the affidavit used to support the warrant contained false and misleading information, including the fact that officers had verified that the target of the alleged drug trafficking operation had received packages at Miss Taylor's address, said Garland. We allege that the defendants knew their actions and falsifying the affidavit could create a dangerous situation, and we allege those unlawful acts resulted in Miss Taylor's death, Garland continued. Now, notice allege. There's no fact. Noting that the officers conducting the raid were unaware of its false and misleading statements. So, what is that? Again, this is a can of worms here that is just meant to rile up BLM, cause a bunch of riots, so maybe they can make everybody stay in their houses and mail out ballots. The election's coming up, folks. Remember, that's going to segue into my monkeypox thing. The DOJ separately alleges that Meany lied to the FBI during its investigation this summer. James faces 1 count of willfully depriving Taylor of her constitutional rights in his official capacity as an officer. What? Stupid ads. Another count of conspiracy and 1 count of falsifying a report. Meany faces 1 count of willfully depriving Taylor of her constitutional rights in his official capacity as an officer, and 1 count of making a false statement to federal investigators. Nobody made no false statements to federal investigators. These are just Democrats trying to cause a race war, like they always do. Goodlett faces 1 count of conspiracy. And you may say, Ray, where the hell do you get Democrats trying to cause a race war like they always do. Oh, who ran the Ku Klux Klan? Who did the Ku Klux Klan support in the 2008 and 2012 elections? Barack Hussein Obama. You can check it out, folks. You can check it out. The KKK is the Democratic Party. Robert Byrd, Joe Biden's mentor. Grand Wizard, KKK, big guy. But somehow, we're the racist ones. Hankinson, who was found not guilty earlier this year in a state trial on 3 counts of first-degree wanton endangerment in connection to the shooting, has been charged with 2 civil rights offenses, with the DOJ alleging he willfully and unconstitutionally used excessive force while engaging in his official capacity as an officer. Look, if someone's shooting at you, you're going to shoot back. You're going to shoot back, folks. Community safety dictates that the police officers use their weapons only when necessary to defend their own lives and the lives of others, and that they must do so with great care and caution, Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark said. Well, if you're being shot at, hello, what are they going to do? Turn their back and run away so these thugs can shoot them in the... Now, these are the Democrats. These are the people, folks, that you could rape a woman unless maybe it's their daughter or their mother, and they will lock you. They won't even lock you up. They'll take you in, take your fingerprints, and let you out with no money. No bail. No bail. This is happening all over the place. And this is what they want everywhere, folks. Think about this. Elections are coming up. If you're a Democrat, vote for the least likely one to win. Like, for example, Democrats in Florida. I say vote for Nikki Fried, please, in the primary. Because DeSantis will mop the floor with her, especially with her Everglades, sugarcane, and marijuana operations, dumping all this fertilizer runoff, which I know about because I'm in that industry, killing off seagrass. But, oh no, she's a woman. She's a Democrat, so she's just fine and dandy. The former detective was among several officers executing a search warrant and blindly shot 10 bullets through a covered window and a sliding glass door. Now, that's what they say. But if there's bullets coming through the window and the sliding glass door, what would you do? I think you'd shoot back, wouldn't you? They didn't know she was in there. Remember, this was supposed to be a drug dealer's address. Now, in some of these communities, that's just how it works. You might say, Ray, you're a racist. Well, no, actually, it's not racist if it's true. Today's incident alleges that Hankinson's use of excessive force violated the rights of Breonna Taylor and her guests, and also her neighbors, whose lives were endangered by the bullets that penetrated into their apartment. Charges against Hankinson are separate from those previously filed by the Commonwealth in Kentucky, alleged violations of the U.S. Constitution, which, remember, he was acquitted of this. The DOJ said James was fired from his position within the department in January 2021 after then interim LMPD chief Yvette Gentry found he lied to a judge to obtain the warrant to search Taylor's apartment the previous year. In his affidavit to obtain the warrant, James claimed he verified through a U.S. postal inspector that Taylor's ex-boyfriend and suspected drug dealer Jamarcus Glover had package delivered to Taylor's apartment. However, he accidentally heard the claim from another officer, Jonathan Mattingly, who also did not receive the information from a postal inspector, but from police in the suburb of Cheveley. Officers with that department later confirmed postal inspectors had said there were no packages for Glover to be delivered to Taylor. Now, there is, however, recorded evidence from when this Jamarcus was taken into. There were police recorded calls where he was saying, "Oh, she be holding the money for me and my brother. I think she have about $15,000. She be holding the money, this, that, and the other thing." You know, hello, it's there, folks. You could look it up. I only got 15 minutes left. I try to keep these to a half an hour. We're just going into that. Depriving of civil rights, shooting back. Look, don't shoot at the cops. Very simple. These cops were doing their job. They do not need to be prosecuted. But the left has to go, the whiteys and the police, they're after you. and we'll defund them, we'll get rid of them, and then we will protect you. No, we ain't going to protect you. Shit, we're going to barricade ourselves behind our big houses and gates and walls, because walls don't work, but they do around our houses. We don't want them on the border because we want those people to come in and we'll magically register them to vote so we can maintain power and turn you people into more peasants than you already are. We can make gas cost $20 a gallon, supplement your income, turn this place into, I don't know, maybe even worse than Cuba, maybe more like China, and kiss their feet. Anyhow, like I said, there's things. The Democrats know that they're going to get their asses handed to them. And by the way, Maricopa County and Arizona, I still don't believe they have the election results. This is a primary. It's a very small election. You should have results within 5 hours. Why don't they still have them, folks? I'll let you guys figure that out for yourselves, because I don't want to violate YouTube's community guidelines. And by making you guys speculate for themselves, I don't think I am violating YouTube's community guidelines. It's just kind of a thing. And remember, we're in an election year. Monkeypox has been declared a health emergency. Now, the U.S. has counted at least 6,600 cases of suspected monkeypox. Now, mind you, there's already a vaccine for this. And mind you, this virus only exists in the homosexual community. May get spread by a gay guy or somebody that the pets aren't safe around. But 99% is predominantly the gay community. And the Democrats are trying to make everybody gay. I wonder why. And why are they declaring something that only 6,600 people out of a country of 300 million, and most of them happen to be gay? Why are they calling it a health emergency when there's already a vaccine for it? And it's very hard to spread without bodily fluids. Of course, you had some gay guys. Oh, I was at a nightclub and I touched a door or something, and then I came down monkeypox. How much are you paying him, Joe? How much? Notice also that Joe has been in the basement for quite a while with COVID. You see, they keep Joe out of the limelight. Democrats start to gain momentum. Their lies and everything else. They know they're in deep fecal matter at the bottom of the outhouse when it comes to the November elections, but they want to find a way to stop that. They sure do, folks. And this monkeypox garbage, just like AIDS, starts out with gay people, and it came from monkeys in Africa. I'm surprised they're not calling this racist, because they called, when Trump said China virus racist, monkeypox Africa. I'm surprised BLM's not calling this racist, considering that a lot of the people that are getting it happen to be black and gay. John White, even the chief medical officer of WebMD, the website that says you all have cancer. This is also from the New York Post. World Health Organization is currently reporting more than 26,000 cases of the disease worldwide. Again, what about the percentage of those people who are gay? Once was rare and unusual. How it recently cropped up and subsequently spread across continents remains a mystery. Well, how did AIDS? A gay guy had sex with a monkey. This is true. And then traveled to the United States and had unprotected sex with a bunch of gay guys, who then went to have unprotected sex with a bunch of gay guys, and some of them weren't fully gay and they had sex with women. And then you had an AIDS epidemic, which Fauci said, that. So anyhow, the chief WebMD officer says that doctors are still learning about it, but reassures patients of the worst fears. We haven't known the current outbreak to be fatal, and that's a good thing. Well, coronavirus was fatal for a lot of people. It was. That's why the lockdowns. But you want to bet, because the Democrats want you to believe that like 60% of the population identifies as either male or female, which they're not. Like, I mean, when I say that, I mean, they want you to believe that 60% of men ID as female and vice versa, and that they all have gay sex with each other. That's what they want you to believe. And in fact, the number is more like 1.5%. So this is going to be their way to be like, oh, to protect the gay community, we're going to have to lock everything down. Because the monkeypox, it's painful, and, we want to protect the gays. They get through enough garbage as it is. Now, I wonder what Fauci's going to say about this, and I can tell you exactly, because remember, it's the White House. The guy who has the worst approval rating than any other president in U.S. history since any polling era. The worst. Even beats Harding, Hoover, and Truman. And Truman was actually a good president and competent. He ended the war in Japan. What do you think Fauci's going to say about this? Well, Joe's going to get behind him, and then he's going to come out there and go, well, the way to mitigate the problem with the monkeypox and to slow and stop the spread, you're going to have to wear 3 N95 masks when you're doing the gay thing with LGBTQ plus IA, whatever. Wear your masks. You don't need to worry about condoms because, the most important thing is a mask. In fact, your best option is to take your ding-a-ling, and then you take your N95 masks and you move the ear things across each other like this, slide your ding-a-ling through the middle of the ear things, tie it in rabbit ears, and then go about your butt sex. That's how we mitigate the spread and take it under control. Use your masks. And other thing, they say it can be spread by close contact. Guess what? We don't want people to go to the election places and vote. We're just going to mail out the ballots. Maybe 2 for each Democrat, 1 for each Republican, because the gays are more prevalent in the Democrats, and if they have monkeypox and they touch the first ballot, we want them to be able to throw it away so they don't get the monkeypox juices, the droplets on there, and then they can send in the second one, and that will be fine and dandy. And that's how we mitigate the spread and keep it under control. And, and then maybe the vaccine after that, even though we already had a vaccine, but who knows, that might turn the monkeypox into AIDS. We don't need the vaccine. We just need the masks and everybody to stay at home until after the election, and then maybe it'll go away. Does that sound right, folks? Because I'm pretty sure that's coming up the pike. I am pretty damn sure it's coming up the pike. And when it does, you could say yours truly was right. Because they're scared. You don't have to verify anybody's identity through a mail-in ballot. In fact, well, I'm not going to go there. But I've known dead people that have gotten ballots in their mail. When a spouse dies, they get a ballot in their mail. Now, everybody I know is honest. They tore it up and threw it away. But some people aren't. And it's typically not on the Republican side. Because we're Christian. We're good. Oh, another thing. Democrats. My womb with their vagina signs and everything else. They're saying the Republicans are banning abortion. Well, guess what? In Kansas City, there was a proposed abortion ban. Not Kansas City, Kansas. Kansas, like the state. Very red state. There was an abortion ban on the ballot. I don't even think it was a ban. I think it was restricting it to 6 weeks. Guess what? Everybody voted against it. Where are the Democrats saying, you're taking away my body rights? Where are they on that? And that's a freaking red state in the middle of Bible thumper country. Abortion's not going to be illegal. They're using that to rile up Karens. Young Karens, I should say. The older Karens are strictly pro-life. But that is their trick because they have nothing else. They're running on pandemics, which Joe did such a good job at. He's 4 times vaxxed and boosted, and he's still in the damn basement with COVID after 2 weeks. That's not medical misinformation, by the way. That's a fact. He's still in there with COVID. Anything else? Now, Ron DeSantis, best governor in these 50 United States and the territories combined, the other night said he had a very important announcement to make on the next day. And I guarantee you the libs were rolling like, oh, he's going to say he's running for president in 2024. It's going to be a DeSantis-Trump head-to-head. They were probably pulling out the Astroglide and tubining 9 ways to Sunday. And if you don't know what tubining is, for those of you living in Rio Linda, just look up when Jeffrey Tubin got caught masturbating on a Zoom call. You know they were tubining. And then he goes out there and says, this Soros-backed woke district attorney by the name of that's in Manhattan. That's Alvin Bragg. Hold on. Andrew Warren, who said he wouldn't prosecute laws that he personally didn't agree with, i.e. the abortion thing. So DeSantis, this is, mind you, right after he declined to go on The View. Yes, The View, the stupidest show on TV and news with possibly the stupidest people. I mean, Joy Behar and Joy Reid are neck and neck for dumbasses. Joy Behar's voice is a little worse to listen to, but Joy Reid, I think, is actually dumber. Anyhow, so there's the headline here from New York Post is DeSantis did what Hochul won't do. Boot a DA who won't do their job. Now, on Thursday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis did what Kathy Hochul won't do. Recall a prosecutor who refuses to do his job. DeSantis suspended Hillsborough County State Attorney Andrew Warren, saying that Warren flagrantly violated his oath of office and placed himself above the law and announcing that he would not prosecute laws which he disagreed. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg did the exact same thing when he announced in a day one memo that he would not prosecute felony armed robbery in most cases, and instead charge only petite larceny, a Class A misdemeanor. New Yorkers were rightly outraged at Bragg's decision to look the other way and made it easier for criminals to prey on hardworking citizens. Bragg withdrew the memo, but clearly did not change his opinions that informed it in the first place. So DeSantis has suspended this whack job, and, everybody's pissed about it. But you know what? You don't follow the law, you lose your job. Very simple, especially when your job is to enforce the law in one way or another. Another thing I want to talk about hypocrisy on the left before we close out tonight. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard it. What about Paul Pelosi? Remember Paul Pelosi driving drunk in his Porsche, crashes into somebody, causing bodily injury? Now, in every state that I know of, if I were right now to get in my truck, after taking this shot, of course, and drive up the street, and even if it weren't my fault, and somebody runs a red light as I'm going through a green and I T-bone them, and they breathalyze me, that's a felony DUI. Even if it's not your fault. If you're in a DUI resulting in an accident anywhere USA, it's a felony. But Paulie P., the insider trader, husband of Captain Saggy Naggy Nancy, I guess is above the law because he only got charged with misdemeanor DUI. Misdemeanor. With an accident resulting in injury. You could crash into a telephone pole and cause no damage to the telephone pole. It's still a felony DUI because it resulted in a crash. But this clown, and he hands him basically what he would say is his get out of jail free card. They took him down. He was drunk. It's not like he refused. Slap on the wrist. Right back out there to do some insider trading while Nancy works the chip steal and everything else. Does he get so rich? I don't know. Anyhow, folks, hope you enjoyed the show. Sorry for a little bit of lag whatsoever. jacked up my internet speed. Brandon makes it hard with everything so expensive. Cheers. We'll catch you next week. Don't let them steal your vote. Let's go, Brandon.